Buckle your seatbelts is because up until now there's been Yerushalmi speakers. It's like the women's events that they bring only rabbis. No, I'm playing. No disrespect. Baruch Hashem, every milah that was said, Ki mitzion titzeh Torah u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim. This is the place. And tonight, right now, we're going to try to connect it, B'ezrat Hashem, everything that was said up until now, into this Torah. Up until now, it's been speaking, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh, which is how it should be, out of a book. I'm not on that level yet. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll get there one day. For now, I'm going to lean on the words of the Tzaddik, Reb Nachman, to try to make a little bit of a more, in my eyes, practical idea to make the gesher between what Rav Yom Tov was talking about, which is the relationship between Am Yisrael and the world, and the donors within Am Yisrael, and the Torah learners and teachers within Am Yisrael, and the par, the halal panui that keeps this vacant space between the two, which is for sure a chiyuv that we have. The Baal Shem Tov teaches a principle that we have to teach the Bnei Noach the 7 mitzvot. Why? Because the kumah, the structure of Am Yisrael, cannot ascend if the bottom part of the tree is not with it, right? If the bottom part doesn't ascend as well, the head can't go any higher. That's why the Baal Shem Tov was one of the main pushers on connecting with the Goyim and teaching them 7 mitzvot to elevate them, because we also need to get elevated, and we can't go up without our brothers. They're also our brothers. We're all from Adam. And then, obviously, we went into the Yichud of Tu B'Shvat, the Yichud of Yerushalayim and Tzfat, Havaya Adnut, which is Gematria 91, which is Gematria Ilan, right? The true Yichud is to be able to live with my head space, knowing that it's really only Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's everything above this world. But Hashem, that same Yud Kei Vav Kei, is also Adnut, and He chose to put me in a world of Adnut. It's not the goal to stay there, it's to live there, to do everything that's involved in that world of Adnut, but to always be conscious that it's all really Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's all Rachamim Gmurim, Haya Hove V'yeh, like the Rav said. And when this idea of this beautiful day came about, when was it, Ilan? Last week something, right? So immediately I thought, okay, if we're trying to make an event in Yerushalayim, then that obviously means I have to talk about something. So what am I going to talk about? Me personally, I like to focus on inner Torahs that are practical, but also help us to make peace between all of these ideas. Right? We're all struggling with one problem. Pirud, like Rav Moshe said. Pirud, separation, distance. Right? Like the tzaddikim say, the biggest distance in the world is between the head and the heart. Right? That's the yichud. That's what I feel, multiplicity. What I know, it's all one. That's the hardest bridge in the world to create, and even harder to cross, right? So on that same day we decided to do this, immediately in my head popped up a Torah that I learned from my Rabbi Yitzchak Rafael Abuchatzera, which is Torah Ayin Hey from the Kutei Moran, which happens to be connected to my own parasha, Bechukotai. And if anybody else wants to follow along, we're in Likutei Moran, Ayin Hey 75, but from the middle part, because it's one of the Torahs that Rabbi Natan wrote down, but didn't really chap completely. I'm not saying that my own self, he says it in the own book, right? In the middle of the Torah, Rabbi Natan says, everything up until now I didn't understand it. So now I'm forced to rewrite and to try to give over a understanding, so that you could take something away. These are the words he said, but I didn't get it. So Reb Natan, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to understand from him. And the main reason I wanted to learn this Torah is because it's what I feel, I know I need. And if I was chosen to speak here, then I'm only meant to speak my story, what I can give tochacha to anybody else about what they're doing. I'm in my own personal journey, and it happens to be that we're all connected on it. Because here we are, connected on it. Right? So, B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, B'zchut Reb Nachman, B'zchut Rabbi Natan, and all the tzaddikim, B'zchut Rashash HaKadosh, Rabbi Rayatz. Ram bam 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 ay rai 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 ay rai 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 ay ay la 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 ay 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 la 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 hey ay 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 la 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 hey la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ram 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 ay rai 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 ay rai 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 Tzfat of Mordechai Scheinberger, the Rav of Organuz, Rav in the Old City, Mekubal Atzum, Pirushim Lekutei Moran, 100 plus books in Sifrei Kabbalah. He's not feeling well right now, and I received a lot from him. So B'ezrat Hashem, this year will be for his refuah shlema. Rav Mordechai ben Sarah Masha, B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. Yivarchenu Elohim v'yiru oto chol avsei aretz. Nachman starts this teaching, Yivarchenu Elohim v'yiru oto chol avsei aretz. This is from Samech Zayin, right? Mizmor Samech Zayin, the menorah, Shiviti Hashem le'nigdi, which is all about what Rav Yom Tov talked about, which is making peace between ourselves, which will affect the goyim, to the point that the whole entire world will come to be Meshabeach Mivarech et HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The whole entire world will come together, not just the Jews. So this is the pasuk that we're starting with, the 8th pasuk in Tehillim Samech Zayin 67. And Reb Natan, from the teachings of Reb Nachman, says, Yesh midat nitzachon u'machloket u'milchama. There is this midah, the trait inside of a person of victory, of disagreement, of war. ומידה זאת באה מדמים שעדיין לא עבד בהם את השם יתברך. Where does it come from that we feel this fight inside of us, this lack of peace, this desire to be cholek and to, with ourselves, with others, with Hashem, chas v'chalila? Where does it come from? There's blood in our system that we still haven't used to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with. Ki ikar midat hanitzachon me'adamim. The main aspect of machloket, of victory, of overcoming anything, comes from the blood running through your body. Vayez nitzcham. Yeshayahu says that the blood, right, their nitzachon, their this midah of victory was splattered, like blood is splattered, Rashi says. Tzrich kol echad levedel midat hanitzachon v'amachloket. Everybody has to nullify this midah within inside themselves, v'lirdof achar shalom, to chase after shalom. Ki lo matza HaKadosh Baruch Hu kli machzik baracha ela shalom. Hashem didn't find any kli, any vessel that could hold blessing like shalom. Right? We talked about the 6-day war, starting on the 6th day. This is 6 and 6, which is shalom, the Yesod. Yesod is the place of peace. Rabbi Rayatz, right? Yosef, Yitzchak, ben Shalom, Dovber, the Rashash, Rav Shalom, ben Yitzchak, right? Baruch Hashem, the lights are still here of Shalom. כי לא מצא הקדוש ברוך הוא כלי מחזיק ברכה אלא שלום. וזה זוכין על ידי שידבר הרבה בתורה ותפילה, על ידי זה יזכה לשלום. This is how do you get to this? By talking a lot in Torah and tefillah, and by way of that you get to shalom, right? כי מתציון תצא תורה. Where do you go when you תצא מתורה? Go to Tzfat. Tzfat is a place of shalom. Tzfat is a place of yesod. Tzfat is a place of connection. כי כשיש מחלוקת צריכים לעשות שלום. When there is disagreements, when there are differences, we have to make peace. וזה העושה שלום, the person that's making peace, הוא בבחינת העלת מין נוקבין. This is the aspect of elevating what's called in Kabbalah feminine waters. In our terms, your drive, your desire, you proving that you want something, you taking a step towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you make peace, You are, so to say, elevating feminine waters. What does that mean? You're trying, you're on your side, to come towards, right, to make a step towards the masculine waters. Like there's Baruch Hu's Shefa coming down here. You're showing, I want this. I want to take a step towards it. I'm showing you that I'm willing here. Kshenofel Adam is a kushia. When a person has a certain question, he has a hardship. That's an aspect of machloket. And obviously this can happen in anything in life. Reb Nachman is going on the path of Torah. A person has a kushia in life. They have a question in Torah, right? Obviously Reb Nachman loves to do this. Reish Pei Bet. He tells you, don't judge other people negatively. It is, and he says very easy, but now you have to do this about yourself. Same thing here, right? The kushia is not just a question in life and question in Torah. A kushia could be any hardship you have in any relationship, in any sides of two things trying to come together. That's an aspect of machloket. Chaluk libo ve'eno mevina davar. But in Torah, when you have a question, your heart is right at distance from one another, and you don't understand the thing. Ki nira lo kilu advarim sotrim ze et ze. It appears as if there's an etz chaim, as if there's an etz hadat. They don't go together. This one I was told I can, that one I was told I can't. Vaterutzu, what's the way to solve this? B'chinat oseh shalom, he who makes peace. By way of making peace, meaning taking that step to make peace, you make peace between, right? You complete. Shalom is always bringing two things together. You make a completion between two things that appear external, and that is again the aspect of elevating feminine waters. Alat min nukubin. Because the main aspect of elevating feminine waters, ubchinat ishtokekut ve'ahava. You want to see your friend get married and be happy with it, right? It comes from a place. What's the main aspect of feminine waters? It's I'm yearning, and madly in love with my friend. I'm going to arouse that inside of me. I'm going to talk to myself in that way. I'm going to believe that way. I'm going to think that way. I'm going to act that way. I'm going to arouse something inside of me from my side towards the other. Like when a person he yearns for Kadosh Baruch Hu, or he yearns to travel to a tzaddik amiti, a true tzaddik, that's an aspect of elevating feminine waters, right? Alat mein nukbin. By way of this, you can connect to Hashem, you can connect to the true tzaddikim. He who makes peace, who puts love inside of his heart towards all of his friends. And he brings them closer together, and he makes peace between them. This is alat mi'in nukbin. Sometimes, the peace that you made comes down in somewhere else. It's revealed somewhere else in the world, right? Again, somewhere else in the world, but it also could be that you think you have this problem in your own life, but it solves another problem that you weren't even thinking about, right? Sometimes you take a step towards making peace, and the peace doesn't come down where you think it's going to come down. That's, so to say, elevating feminine waters to a different place. And all of the words that a person speaks in Torah and TEFILAH, they're all this aspect of elevating feminine waters like it's known, and that's what's called shalom. Again, Torah and TEFILAH, what am I essentially doing? I'm connecting to my Creator. Right? I'm doing a physical action to connect to my Creator. So I elevated feminine waters. But when I do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always listening, and He always wants the relationship with me too. So He starts to send back down Shefa, right? So I now made peace. I connected the lower with the upper. How? My Torah and my TEFILAH. Borei niv sfatayim, shalom. Right? The enunciation, what's the word? Niv of the actual when you get the articulation, when you articulate your words properly, that's shalom. Borei niv sfatayim. What's niv? It's the articulation, right? When you can do that, shalom. When you can get your words out properly out of your lips, shalom, peace. V'zeh ikar tikun habriya. This is the main rectification of the whole entire world. Oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol. He makes peace and you create everything. Ki b'shat b'riyah. Now we're going to get really tzfati, even though also Rav Nachman's also extremely tzfati, right? But now we're going to get even more. B'zat Hashem. It's explained by the Arizal and by Rav Chaim Vital, the process of shvirat hakelim. And here they bring it up in this Torah. In the beginning, all of the world, so to say, fell down below. This is what's called shvirat hakelim, the breaking of the vessels. The worlds, haolamot, they're the aspect of what's called otiyot, letters. And these letters, when they broke, right, the Shviat HaKelim, the Kli that broke, were these letters, and they scattered all across the world into a bunch of different sparks. By way of you elevating feminine waters with your Torah and your Tefillah, you start to make permutations and words out of all of these scattered letters. And now you create a world. Now there's a olam. Shalom. This is the aspect of making peace, because before שמכניס, קודם שמכניס אלו הניצוצות ואותיות בתוך דיבורי תפילה ותורה, אין להם שום צירוף וחיבור. Before you took these letters that were scattered in the world and you put them into your Torah and your tefillah, they had no connection. They were in a default state of shever, of brokenness, of machloket, individual letters that can't come together to make a word of understanding, that can't bring you any meaning in life. Just their own image. Now you take them and you put them together, you're making peace. You're no longer allowing one to intensify itself over the other. This letter by itself and that letter by itself and this letter. No, now we're having three letters to come together to make a shoresh. So now we can have the root of a word, right? Then we can add another letter before it, two letters after it, and now we have many different words, right? But we start to take individual letters and bring them together. When you bring these letters, these tzirufim, these permutations, these combinations, these words into holy speech, you bring them all together and you make peace between them, you unify them. Because by way of holy speaking of Torah and Tefillah, you make an elevation of feminine waters, and that makes peace, as we said. Now, it's as if you made a new creation, because the original creation, what happened? The letters got scattered across the world. They're still the same letters. They're still the same rapach nitzotzot, the same sparks that were in the beginning are still scattered. Every time you go and you make a sha'akol, or you asher yatzar, or you sit and you learn a little bit of Torah and you use your mouth to do it, or you pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now you're gathering those letters, you're bringing them together, you're making words and sentences and olamot, and you're recreating olamot from what? It's not you doing it. You're not. It's not yesh mi'ayin. You're taking what already was in the first creation that didn't, so to say, work out as we understand it, how we look at it, and we're creating new worlds. We're making more peace between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what the rabbi said in the Zohar. Le'emor le'Tzion, ami ata. Go tell Tzion, go tell Zion, you're my nation. What does the Zohar say? Don't read it ami, rather imi. Go tell Tzion, you're my partners. You're my shotafim, you're my co-creators with me. I use you to recreate worlds. Ki bevadai hu boreh shamayim va'aretz b'diburei Torah u'tefillah. 100% you're creating heavens and earths by way of your Torah and your tefillah. You're going back and rectifying and re-elevating all of the fallen worlds. You're bringing them back up and you're making new peace between them. You're creating new worlds. And this is what it says in Vayikra, Parashat Bechukotai, V'natati shalom ba'aretz. Right? I put peace, I put completion, I put wholesomeness in the world. Ki ma'artziyut nit'alina nitzotzot. From the artziyut, from the gashmiut, from this world, is where the sparks, these rapach nitzotzot, these fallen worlds that broke in the creation of the world, they all fell and got scattered out of the world. By way of us tapping into our gashmiut, tapping into the artziyut, into the world, we start to take the sparks out of there. V'nasa shalom. And now we make peace. And that's the main tikkun of the Bria. The main purpose, we're here, the most beautiful way to leave this world, tikkun, right? In Yerushalayim, tikkun might mean to rectify something, to fix something. In Tzfat, tikkun means to beautify, to decorate, to make it look beautiful, right? Tikkunim, how do you want to letaken et Bria? It's this. It's to be engaged with the world, to take back these sparks that fell in an improper manner, to put them back together in Torah and Tefillah, in Diburim Kedoshim, and to make a yichud between Shamayim va'aretz, and then you will create Shamayim va'aretz. You will create brand new worlds. Therefore, you should only have holy speech, and that doesn't mean you can't talk about business. That doesn't mean you can't talk about anything else, but you have to do it in a holy way. ולא לדברים אחרים, כדי להעלות הניצוצות. But to elevate the sparks, it has to be קדוש. It has to be דיבורים קדושים. לתקן כל העולמות, to fix all the world, כי עיקר הבריאה הייתה על ידי הדיבור. The main aspect of creation was by way of the speech of Hashem, בדבר אדוני שמיים נעשו. Right? It was with the speech of Hashem that the heavens were created. ועל ידי השבירה נפלו הניצוצות בכל הדברים. By way of the shvira of the kelim that happened in the beginning of the world, now these sparks that were there, they fell into the whole entire world. They fell into every aspect of life. Ba'machal, uvamishteh, uvamalbush, in your food, your drink, your clothing, meaning everything you could think of has sparks from creation that don't have friends to be with, to make words, to make worlds, to connect heaven to earth. Just a bunch of scattered sparks. ובכל התענוגים שבעולם, all of the delights in the world are filled with this. כי התענוג שיש בדבר והשותה כיוצא בזה, ושתייה כיוצא בזה, הוא מהניצוצות שנפלו לשמה. What is it that you get out of the rugelach? What is it that you get out of the Coca-Cola? What is it that you get out of your jacket? It's the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not just food. It's not just food. Right? I say this all the time if you listen to my classes, and there's some of you that you for sure have heard me say this. You are what you eat. If you want to approach it for the hamburger, you're going to become more of a hamburger. You think you're eating gashmiut, you're going to become more gashmi. If you know that there's a spark in there, you might become more sparkly. You might become a little bit more ruach, more connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because that's what the vitamins you're experiencing, the taste, the satiation, the koach after that, that's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not the cow. It's definitely not the cow, right? So, if you approach it that way, you get more of that out of it. You start to feel it, you start to appreciate it more and more and more. And the best way, if you want to start with experiencing this, is chew your food until it's disgusting in your mouth. And then you're going to realize this was so tasty right before I put it in my mouth. After this, I was about to fight someone. I was going to push them out of the way in Kiddush. To have this, chew it up, break it down inside there, and realize if you would eat that again, what's inside your mouth right now. Would you take it out and make a bracha and take it back inside? Machlok in the Gemara, if you can do it or not, right? But would you do it? Most of us wouldn't do it, right? So there you see the power of what food is. It's nothing. So where does all this, the beautiful things that come out of food, everything that it does do for us, where does that come from? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're left to see that that's what was there the whole time. Before you bring it to speech though, it's the aspect of dam. It's blood. It's the blood inside your body. Shu b'chinat nefesh. That's the nefesh. Like it's written, ki nefesh kol basar damo benafshohu. Right? It's all the nefesh, the blood, the flesh, the lowest part of what makes you up. Right? That's your nefesh. And that's where all of these things are. כשמוצאים על ידי הדיבור, זה בחינת נפשי יצא בדברו. Now when you take your blood, that you still haven't served the HaKadosh Baruch with you, with it yet, so this blood that hasn't served Hashem is sitting inside of you, right? And it's coming from all of the sparks that you've eaten from that cow that was killed for you to eat on your Shabbat table, but inside the cow were sparks that weren't aligned. They didn't have a proper permutation. They didn't have a tziruf. So now when you made a motzi lechem min haaretz, or you made a shakol and you eat it, and now you take that, where does it go? It goes into your blood. That cow is now inside your bloodstream. The cow and also the otiyot that were making it alive. The sparks, the original rapach nitzotzot from the creation that fell inside that cow, now they're inside of you with the cow. Now what do? Now it's going around in your blood. And before you've brought them out in Torah and Tefillah, it's just your blood inside of you, which we said again is machloket. That's where the machloket and miriva, that's where it comes from. All the milchama inside of you, it's coming from this blood that still hasn't been used to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nafshi yatsa b'dabero. All of this nefesh, this blood, that's this boiling blood, as they say in English, right? That's causing me to want to fight with others, with myself, with my wife, with Hashem, with the whole entire world, with the Gemara, with everyone. Nafshi yatsa b'dabero. It will come out of me when I speak. Vaz ma'aleh nitzotzot u'mechabram yahad. And then you can take the nitzotzot, these sparks, you can elevate them and you can unify them together. And that's oseh shalom b'neihem. That's to make peace between the two. And this is what we said before, שעל ידי דמים שלא עבד בהם עדיין את השם יתברך, מזה בא ניצחון ומחלוקת. From blood that you still haven't used to serve Hashem yitbarach, that's where your desire inside of you that wants to fight everything, that's where it's coming from. You have blood running through your system that hasn't left yet. It hasn't been used in its right purpose. The main aspect of machloket and fights is from these shattered sparks that fell down. Before you put them together, before you rectify it, before you bring them all together, they're still in this aspect of machloket, of fighting. Then they're in this aspect of damim. Therefore, you have to serve Hashem Yitbarach with every drop of blood that you find in your body. Every single thing. What was the pasuk we started with? Anybody remember? Yivarchenu Elohim viruto chol afse aretz. You have to use every drop of blood. Shidaber arbe b'Torah TEFILAH. Speak a lot about Torah and TEFILAH. Speak a lot about Emunah. Speak a lot about Geula. Speak a lot about Mashiach. Speak a lot about all these ideas. Ad she'na'asa mikol hadamim diburim shel Torah TEFILAH ki dibur hu me'anefesh hu b'chinat damim. Right? Until out of this speaking, you make Torah, you make TEFILAH. Your natural conversation with people, because you only speak in a way of Kedusha. So then your conversation, like they say about the Talmidei Chachamim, just watch two Talmidei Chachamim talk about life. No Torah at all. It'll take you a few days to understand what was said there. If you really had the ears to hear, it would open up for you, and it could even take you, that one conversation that had nothing to do with Torah, lichora, on face value, could escort you with your Judaism for a few good months, keeping you alive. Of a mundane conversation, right? V'azai mevatel et kol hanitzachon. When you start to speak that way and you make Torahs and you make Tefillah, you start to now nullify all of the nitzachon, all of the machloket, all of the milchama that you have inside of you, which are the aspects of damim shelo avad behem et adayin et Hashem yitbarach, blood that you still haven't used to serve Hashem. And this aspect of birur nitzotzot, of the clarification of sparks, that we've all heard about this, right? We've all heard this term, but what does it mean? Who gives us the proper guide of how to actually clarify sparks? Bechol yom, nasa bechol yom ad biyat HaMashiach. Here you go from Reb Nachman. He says, this idea of clarifying sparks will be done every single day until the coming of Mashiach. Now we get to step back into Yerushalayim. V'amdu raglav b'yom hahu al har haZeitim. On that day, right, his legs will stand on Har HaZeitim. Ki ikar tikun hanitzotzot hu b'chinat raglin. The main aspect of tikun hanitzotzot, the aspect of elevating these sparks, is rectifying netzach and hod, rectifying our feet, rectifying our legs. His legs will stand on Har HaZeitim. Ki Torah u'tfilah im b'chinat amidah. Torah and tefillah is this aspect of standing, which is raglin, which Torah is v'ata po amodi madi. Right? Hashem said to Moshe, the giving in the Torah, you stand here with me, stand here with me. Raglin, again, legs. V'tyatzvu betachtit har. They established themselves, they stood there, they showed up at the bottom of the mountain. Again, standing. Utfilah, v'yamod Pinchas v'yifalel. Pinchas stood, right? That was about Torah. Those two things were about Torah. Moshe, ata po amodi madi, standing, Torah. The rest of Am Yisrael, ityatzvu betachtit har, standing, Torah. V'yamod Pinchas v'yifalel. Pinchas stood and he prayed. Stood though. Tzedek lefanav yahalech. Righteousness in front of him will walk. Standing again, legs. Tzedek u'b'chinat hadibur shel Torah u'tfilah. What is tzedek? Torah and tfilah. Like it's written, tzedek tidaberun. Speak with righteousness, talk about righteousness, talk about holy things. Al yedei zeh nitaknin araglin. By way of this, you rectify the legs. Tzedek lefanav yahalech. Then righteousness walks in front of you. Al yedei zeh zochin leb'chinat ve'amdu raglav b'yom hahu. Then his legs will stand on Har HaZeitim on that day. It would be such a zazua, right? If you want to go with the mashal or with the pshat, either way. The pshat is there's going to be a big split in the mountain, and the whole Mount Har HaZeitim is going to split in half, and the whole world's going to hear this cry out of the earth. Mashiach's here. And if you want to go deeper and remove the mashal or say it's not a mashal, but what is the earth is going to split in half, meaning there's going to be a crazy show, like Rav Moshe says. Hashem likes big shows. Hashem doesn't like these small things. Each one of us is a huge show. Right? Netflix tries hard to make a few episode series. We're all living tens and tens and tens of years, and if you're a Yid, every single day is a series that the Netflix could never make in a million years, right? Hashem likes it big, and it's going to be big. On that day, Mashiach is going to come, he's going to step on Har HaZeitim. The whole entire world is going to hear one individual speaking without raising his voice. He doesn't have to raise his voice. It's like the Ben Ish Chai reminds me. Ben Ish Chai had a shul in Baghdad, 5,000 people. He used to give drasha, everyone would hear him. He passed away, his son came to give a drasha, the whole crowd, louder, louder, louder. He says, I was with my father never raised his voice in his life. You all heard him. You're not your father. You gotta raise your voice, right? Ki kodem hatikun, before the tikkun, before we get to there, before you find these letters and you bring them into dibur dikdusha, to holy speech, then it's solea al yerecho. He's limping on his legs. He's limping his thigh. He has a hit in his sciatic nerve, you called it, gida nashe, right? He's limping. He's not able to walk. He's not able to stand properly. By the way, when I learned this Torah with Rabbi Tzfat for the first time with Rabbi Tzfat, right at this point, a person walked in, 2 boots on his legs and crutches. Levi Yitzchak Harlev. He walked into the show right at this point, and you're going to see how it's even funnier. His name is Levi. Hold on. This is the blemish of the legs like we talked about. And afterwards, that's before the tikkun. Before the tikkun, you have blood inside your system that hasn't served Hashem. You have machloket, you have problems, right? There's boiling blood inside of you. That's the aspect of the legs before the tikkun. And you're limping on your legs. After the tikkun, when you start to speak in a holy way, and you start to build diburei kedusha, ze b'chinat vayiven et hatzela. You will build from the tzela. Build solea al yerecho. He was limping on his limbs, right? And now we're back to Adam Rishon. We're back to building now shalom, giving a wife, bringing that same tzolea. The tzaddikim know how to do this, right? Everything's just diburim. It's just otiyot. Down here, what's called tzara really is retzeh, right? Or tzohar, whatever you want to do, it's just permutation. So here, tzolea, you limping, what's the tikkun? Start to speak properly, and what's going to happen? Vayiven et hatzela. We're going to build this, what looked like limping, would look like this hinge on the side of you. We're going to make it to ezer kenegdo. We're going to make it into a whole entire person that can help you to get to tikkun, you can make shalom with. Shemetaken b'chinat tzolea al yerecho. You fix this aspect of limping. And that's Levi, itiach dvarim klapei mala v'itla. Levi, like this guy that walked into the middle of the shir, limping with 2 boots on and crutches, his name was Levi, so too. Reb Nachman says, Levi from the Gemara, what happened? There was no rain in Eretz Yisrael. Levi, big tzaddik, mentioned in the Gemara, goes and he starts to daven in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, how could it be? Am Yisrael, no rain. Starts going back and forth, and then he had a little bit of a little bit too harsh of a claim against HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his anhaga and how he was treating the world and Am Yisrael. And immediately rain came down, but he left with a limp. Right? Why? What are you arguing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Tefillah is one thing, but to start a back and forth, to start a machloket, to start this blood that's... There's a pgam there, there's a blemish in the legs. We have to talk, right? Reb Nachman said before, Rag diburim kedushim, only you have to talk all the way, he says here, to the point that your guf, that your body, meaning all inyanei gashmiut, all aspects of physicality in your life, will be batel ve'efes, nullified to a greater purpose, ve'efes. If you want to go deeper into Hebrew, ipus, right? Aligned, efes. But essentially what he's saying here is take all of your gashmiut and bring it down as far possible as possible. Bring it to 0. Nullify it. What happens when you do that? Viula basar echad. It will become one flesh. You make peace. Shia guf ehad im hadibur. Your body will become one with your speech. And that's the aspect of chava. V'layla lalayla yehaveh dat. Night to night. Will be this experience of dat, of connection, of chibur, of shalom. She b'chinat hatzela. She was the tzela. She was the rib. She was the side. She is the tikkun of limping. ויבן את הצלע, שעל ידי זה נאמר, ויהיו לבשר אחד. By way of building that צלע, now they became one flesh. דהיינו שהתבטל הגוף לגמרי כעין וכאפס. The body completely gets nullified to a bigger purpose, כעין ואפס, right? Nothingness, not nullified. על ידי דיבור תורה ותפילה. Great, now we know what's going on. How do we get into it? Practically. לבוא לזה, לבטל הגוף לגמרי. How do you get to nullify your body completely? הוא על ידי יראה. It's by way of awe of Hashem. For those who love Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh, yirah in English means fear. In Hebrew, it means sight. It means awareness. It means seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Once the baby knows what a fire is, I promise you, like all of us, we never chose to put our hands back in fire. One time of properly understanding what fire does to you, no matter how old you are, you will never choose to do that again on the same level. If you see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you won't sin against him. Not because you're afraid, because you're aware, because you're conscious. Right? What a few weeks ago we had in the parasha. Everything in the Torah has, right, the word and the opposite. This thing and the opposite of it. What's the opposite of when the Torah says those who had irat shamayim put their animals inside the house? What's the opposite of that in the Torah? Anybody? Elisha, those who didn't apply their hearts, those who didn't pay attention. Look at all that's going on in Mitzrayim. Again, you got a warning that everything will get destroyed that doesn't make it inside your house. And you leave all your livestock, you leave everything out. Those who had irat shamayim, in the words of the Torah, brought their animals in. And it's not only talking about the Jews. It's the Goyim, it's everyone. Those who didn't pay attention, they didn't apply their heart, they didn't apply their blood. They left their animals outside, they lost all their wealth, they lost everything they had. So ira is the way that we get into speaking this way. Guf kashe, pachad shovro. The rabbis say, person wants to be tough, he thinks he has a strong body, scare the living daylights out of him, watch him get pulled over by the cop, or get the fine, or get the court summons, or this, or whatever it is. All of a sudden you're going to see, I just went through this in my life. I have no problem saying it. I went through an extremely scary situation a few months ago, and 3 weeks I find myself in bed. Here I have some tzfaris with me. Things that the most important things in my life, shiurim, Torah, this, that, just walking outside, 3 weeks, bed, hospital, bathroom, bed, hospital, bathroom. Where was it all from? Pachad, up here, destroyed my stomach. Right? So, right? From our own flesh, we have to be able to learn about Hashem. We're learning Ayin Hey, but from the middle onwards. Ufachad ufchinat pachad yitzchak. What is pachad? Pachad yitzchak. It's ira. It comes back to this idea of ira. V'zeh perush hapasuk yivarchenu Elohim. What does it mean? Yivarchenu Elohim. Zeh b'chinat shalom. Ki lo matzah kadosh baruch hu kli machzik bracha ela shalom. Hashem didn't find a vessel that could obtain bracha, a vessel that could hold blessing like shalom. V'yiru oto. They will have awe. They will have pachad yitzchak. They will have a connection. They will have a consciousness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yivarchenu Elohim. V'yiru oto. Hashem will bless us. Right? Bring down Shefa on us. The whole entire world. Like you said before, Rav Yom Tov. Right? The whole entire world. The Jews and the non-Jews. This is Mizmor Samich Zayin. Shiviti Hashem lemnatzech. Minot Mizmor Shir. This is what we say. Right? What is that menorah about? Why was it that? By the way, the Chachamim say that's the real Magen David. Right? That was on the Magen of David, and all of his soldiers was that menorah with those words, Mizmor Samich Zayin. Why? The whole entire world should fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The whole entire world should be conscious of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'yiru oto, haynu ira, shal yedei ze nitbatel haguf. What's ira? It breaks the person's body. It breaks the gashmut. It breaks the need. Yirat shamayim is the only thing that's going to allow you to ascend above the hamburger. To see that there is something inside the hamburger. There's something beyond the girl that walked by you in the street. There's so much more than what you're experiencing in the artziut. Really what you're seeking out are the rapach nitzotzot, the 288 sparks that are spread out across the world inside everything, like the Rav said. In your eating, in your drinking, in your garments, which means your car, which means your office, which means the phone in your office, which means the garbage bag taking all of your psola to the street. Every single thing in your life has sparks of HaKadosh Baruch Hu behind it. You engage with them, you start to take them on you. You start to take them in you. If you do that, they're surrounding you, they're in your damim, and they're just going to have you boiling. Why? Because what is blood? It's fire. It's hot. It's energy that's on fire. And that is ishtokikut. That is elevating feminine waters, taking a step towards peace. I'm stepping towards you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I need you to step back towards me. But if it's a sincere step towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu from a place of yirah that breaks the body, that makes me see everything I'm experiencing is efes, mamish, nothing matters in this world separate from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. With HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it means the world. Ani borei shamayim va'aretz. I'm making brand new worlds every time I engage with the artziut of this world. With HaKadosh Baruch Hu. With Ira, I break the body. Without it, I'm stuck in the body. I'm stuck in the body. So by way of Torah and Tefillah, we get to Kol Afsei Aretz. Hainu shekol artziut na'asim efes ve'ayin. All ideas of Gashmiut become efes ve'ayin, ki nitbatlim legamri, because they completely nullified. Again, this doesn't mean you can't show up to a job. This doesn't mean you can't buy a nice car if you can afford it. It just means that that car is not going to make you happy, and you know that. It's a tool. It's a horse. 360 years ago, in this country, that car would have been a donkey. And wow, you got a new donkey. Mavruk. Right? It would have been a big thing. I remember in Yerushalayim, I got to Yerushalayim not too long ago. I'm sure you also saw this growing up. There used to be in Yerushalayim, in the old city, you would walk in, donkeys pulling trailers behind them, for not tractors like you have now, it was donkeys, and it smelled, and it was disgusting. On your way to the kotel, you had to walk through that. The Arabs, melee, but the donkeys with them. Right? So that was the mitziyut. Rav Yom Tov, I'm sure you remember this too, walking to the old city.
Plenty of donkeys.
Yeah, plenty of donkeys. Basar echad. Kitzu, this is what shalom is. Yivarchenu Elohim, v'yiroto chol afsei haaretz. When you have bracha, when you make a bracha, when you take anything, you make brachas to Hashem, Yivarchenu Elohim, bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Torah, TEFILAH. Again, we're not talking mitzvot here, and if you see, he didn't mention mitzvot. Why? Because the first thing that we started with was, I don't want to do mitzvot. I don't want to help anybody else. I'm not trying to help anybody else. I'm trying to fight the world. I have machloket inside of me. I want nitzachon. I want to overcome you, Hashem, my wife, my kids, the pakach, the cop, everyone I want to overcome. Where's that coming from? Blood that's inside your system that you still haven't used to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the second you do, what happens? Nafshi yatsa b'dabaru. So you eat a meal, you started with a bracha, Yivarchenu Elohim. V'yiroto, now you're going to see him, but you're going to understand from that, batel kol afsei haaretz. The whole entire world is nullified at that moment. Right? And if you go back to the simple kavanah that I gave you on eating, which is chew your food until it's disgusting in your mouth, you're going to see, kol afsei haaretz, that beautiful steak means nothing when you just want to get it down or out. You realize that the spark of Hashem was what was inside there. So B'ezrat Hashem, next time you go to crave for a nice cheeseburger, you can understand what's going inside your body. Sparks from Shvirat HaKelim, sparks from the creation of the whole entire world, that until you made that bracha and put that food inside your mouth, they had no hope for a tikkun. Besides Hashem's avtacha that there will always be tshuva and the whole world will make tshuva. Like Rav Kook says, right? There's gufanit, sichlit, tiv'it. The whole entire world is constantly in a movement of tshuva, of no one could prevent it. We're all going back to the source. Hashem, right? Who is here? Yeah, same age, Beyblades. Remember Beyblades, right? The little, or top Sevivons. Sorry, Rav is after your time. When you were already in Aish, they came out with this toy, right? Right? Take any Sevivon, take any spinning top, right? The old times, the spinning top used to come with a string, right? The dreidel came with a string. Take that string. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did. He sent the world out there. But in the end, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. The whole world's doing a process of tshuva. Let's help a little bit. Let's at least be a little bit more conscious of it. That when we engage with shtiya, achila, malbush, chaverim, svarim gdoshim, you're not learning this for the chitzoniut. You're not learning this for the guf. It's not about information. It's not that. It's a yichud. It's borei shamayim va'aretz. It's taking otiyot, and that's why it's so important to learn outside, learn out loud, to say words. Bereshit, we're talking about Bereshit here, Natati Shalom Ba'aretz, Bekol Ram Evarech Shem Hashem Tamid. Bereshit is to say things out loud, to make it known, to bring it into the world, to create more energy. And the more you put out that ruach, which is the ruach of Tzfat, right? The ruach of the Chachamim that were in Tzfat, they knew this. How many things? I'll push Avshi's buttons, because Avshi knows this. Avshi is one of the few that is able to bring people back to Tzfat and to know that it's Tzfat that's doing this. I'm trying to learn from my Rebbe as well how to do this, right? But how many things came out of Tzfat that people don't really give the credit back to Tzfat for? The fact that every single Keilah in the world does Kabbalat Shabbat, Tzfat. What was Kabbalat Shabbat in the time of Chazal? Boi kala, Shabbat Malketa. One pasuk, and you would bow to the right, bow to the left, and bow to the west. That was it, Shabbat. Now it's a whole, go to Mekarev, see. Right? 3 minyanim outside, which are all really connected to the one inside, and the women, Bichlal, right? All these things, Baruch Hashem Nigun, Tzfat, thank you Hashem movement, Tzfat, Shulchan Aruch, Tzfat, all Kitvei Ari, Tzfat. Why did I come here today? And yes, Chevre, Ilan is Mamash Ilan, but this was my idea. Right? It's a Kadosh Baruch Hu, but I've been yearning for this. Why? I don't see your faces enough in Tzfat. I see people here that do come to Tzfat. The rest of you, if you're here today, if you came for a day in Tzfat in Yerushalayim, why haven't you come for Tzfat in Tzfat? No, seriously. Okay, war, melee, that's what you guys thought. We were all still there in the war. So I don't know why you guys couldn't have come, but it's okay. Now you can. Now there's no more excuses. Chevre, come for a Shabbat. Come taste it. Come get recharged. I can't afford. Tzfat is tzrichim parnasat tamid. Like Rav Yom Tov said, there's a distance between those with money and those sitting in Tzfat. I can't afford to come here all the time to you guys, but I'm opening my arms and my home. There's people here that I've ate at my table. Come experience it, come taste it, come tap in, so that we can get to a world where we know, and that's what Tzfat is. Yesod, Yerushalayim is the Malchut. Tzfat is where it can take all these different ideas, all these different types of Yidim, all these different things of Shulchan Aruch and the deepest Kabbalah, and it comes out to the world. It's not Stam that the son of the Likutei Halachot, Rabbi Natan's son, who was responsible for all of Breslev, is buried right next to the Shulchan Aruch in Tzfat, and many other Chachamim. It's a place that is Mesugal, as the Chesed Avraham says. Tzfat in Gematria Ktana is 21. With the Kolel, it's 22, which is the Gematria Ktana of Netzach. It's also Kavbet Otiyot TORAH. The Chesed Avraham says Tzfat is a city, Ir Miklat Shematzil Nefashot, that saves souls and allows the person, invites the person to the depths of the Torah Kedusha, to the deepest secrets possible. And it's so high and lofty, physically and spiritually, that it just has the power to purify the neshama. And whoever lives in Tzfat has a benefit over every other city in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because if he passes away there, the second he passes away, Nishmato porachet legadenet atachton shebechevron. Immediately his soul leaves from Tzfat faster than if you were in Gush Etzion, your soul will get to Hebron. Faster than if you were right there. Why? Because that's what Tzfat is. So if that's all of that, why wait to die to tap into that benefit? We're here now to live. Come get it, come revitalize, dip in a nice cold mikveh, learn some Torah, and this is the other advice. Don't come to Tzfat as a tourist and ask what's going on, what's happening. No, go to the Beit Midrash. Nafshi yatzabed dabaro, that nefesh that you have, want to sit with another person, want to go back and forth and have machloket and talk and pilpul and this and that, leave that in Yerushalayim, chevre. When you come to Tzfat, we want to sit, want to make a lachaim. If you're into joints, you smoke a joint, whatever it is that you're going to do, just be. And if you could just be in Tzfat for a little bit of time with that decision before you got on the bus or the car to get there, you will leave a completely different person after 20 minutes if you do it right. Zat Hashem. I love you all. Thank you very much.